From Mohegan Sun Arena, a 2019 WNBA Finals rematch. For the first time in 19 months, these two teams meet here at Mohegan Sun. The Connecticut Sun hosting the Washington Mystics. Brendan Glasheen and Kim Adams, it's great to be with you. Connecticut Sun off to a 5-1 start. That's the best record in the W. 2-1 road trip out west. We wondered last week if they could get 2 out of 3, they'd be in great shape, and they did it.
Yeah, that was a tough trip. I mean, there was not a lot of downtime. You're going against some of the heavy hitters in the league. They started by beating Phoenix for the second time this season, and then Las Vegas and Seattle, last year's WNBA Finals competitors. They beat the Aces and then gave Seattle all they had, taking them to overtime on the tail end of that road trip. But the coaches just raving about how happy they were with how the team performed in that difficult stretch.
And Jonquel Jones was a force in those 3 games. 5 straight contests with a double-double for Jonquel. And JJ's the only player right now in the WNBA averaging a double-double through 6 games.
It's just been pure dominance, and that Seattle line stands out, 28-13. But Jonquel Jones just has a different mindset this season after opting out last season. You just see more of a focus, more of a confidence. You could see her hitting from behind the arc. She had a big 3 in that overtime loss against Seattle, but she is really hard to defend at 6'6". The turnaround game is nearly unguardable. Jonquel Jones is putting up MVP caliber numbers early on.
We wondered how the front court pieces would fit for Connecticut. Brianna Jones with a great breakout season last year. She's fit in seamlessly with Jonquel Jones in more of a larger role this season.
Right, her too. I mean, the confidence is just skyrocketing right now. She just has that instinct when it comes to rebounding. The offensive boards is what stands out the most about her to me, but her too, just more of a mindset when it comes to being aggressive. You see her have that little pull-up floater game, and she's expanded that range a little bit. Brianna Jones is super confident when it comes to scoring the ball, and her and JJ have really complemented each other well inside.
We've talked to Kurt Miller today. 6 games in 12 days. You'd hope, and there's a long list of injuries in the W, you hope you come out healthy, and that's the case for the Connecticut Sun. Breon January set to return tonight from injury, and Natisha Hydeman, a bit of a scare in the 4th quarter with a calf bruise. Turns out she'll be back in action. It's a good thing. She's been playing real well as of late.
Yeah, they are overjoyed that that was nothing too serious. You see the numbers there, doubling the scoring from 2020, but the 3-point shooting is where she's opened the most eyes. She's already knocked down 15 this season. That is encroaching on her total number from all of last season, and Natisha Hydeman has just brought the energy. Love to watch her defend, and we talked about Jonquel being an MVP candidate. Natisha is a most improved candidate early on.
Just the 3rd year in the WNBA for Natisha Hydeman, leads this basketball team in plus-minus. For more on how she's setting expectations, let's go to the 3rd member of our team, Robin Brown.
I have to continue the conversation about the electric 5'8" guard, Natisha Hydeman. As each night she's stepping on the floor, she's making an impact. You're seeing the assertiveness from behind the arc, and you're seeing the aggression when she's attacking the rim downhill. But when she walked into the arena today in this swagged out jump shoot, I asked her, Natisha, is the level of confidence continuing to grow for you? And she said, Robin, my confidence never wavers. I'm no longer just a spark plug for this team. It's my job to put up points. It's a requirement for me to have this level of production for this team. So although it sounds simple, it's just my job. Brendan?
Robin, thank you. Hydeman and the Sun have their hands full with another MVP frontrunner out of the gate in Tina Charles, the former member of Connecticut. She leads the W in scoring, 3 straight games with at least 30 points.
Yeah, Tina Charles is playing as well as anybody right now. In her 11th season, 32 years of age, has just looked dominant early on. You see the 26 points per game. You mentioned the 3 straight 30-point games, and to me, she just looks as in good of shape as she's ever been. She's defending. She's really extended her range. She's knocked down a handful of threes early on in the season, and she just looks like she is really dialed in after sitting out last season. Tina Charles has been as good as anybody in the league.
Should be a good one. 2019 WNBA Finals rematch. Both coaches think this one is going to be a chess match. We'll have the starting lineups and tip-off next here at Mohegan Sun. The Connecticut Sun and the Washington Mystics. Tonight's starting lineups are presented by Bud Light Seltzer. Connecticut back home after a West Coast trip. Nice to see Breon January back in the lineup after missing the entire trip with a left ankle sprain. In there with Dewana Bonner, Brianna Jones, Jasmine Thomas, and MVP frontrunner Jonquel Jones faced up with former Sun Tina Charles, Natasha Cloud, Ariel Atkins, Sydney Weiss also out there with Maisha Hines-Allen. Mike Tebow, head coach of the Washington Mystics, the all-time winningest coach in the WNBA, spent 10 years here at Mohegan Sun as head coach of Connecticut from 2003 to 2012. And Curt Miller returns from his one-game suspension handed by the WNBA for his comments made about Liz Cambage of the Las Vegas Aces. Curt put out a statement. The entire league is aware. He takes back his comments. He understands, he's learned from the experience. Your thoughts on Curt Miller, what he had to say, and what he's learned from it?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, there's no room for comments like that within the WNBA family. I think the women in the league get enough offensive remarks on social media, in daily life, that the one place they shouldn't hear it is on the court within the WNBA family, with the WNBA being one of the most inclusive and diverse entities in the entire world. So, we know there's emotions in sports. I think Curt knows he crossed the line. We hope that he was sincere in his apology and he does learn from it, but I think it was good that the WNBA acted swiftly with the fine, with the suspension, to, make a statement that comments and behavior of that caliber will not be tolerated in the WNBA. But I think the team has moved on and put it behind them, and hopefully everybody learns and they're here to play ball.
Curt was caught in the heat of the moment. He ended his statement. I understand the gravity of my words and have learned from this. He's on the sidelines. Connecticut and Washington met a couple of times down in Bradenton, Florida in the Wubble. Here they are at Mohegan for the first time in 19 months when they dueled in the 2019 WNBA Finals. Connecticut wins the tip. Here's Jasmine Thomas running the show up top. And a very complete effort against Seattle. 9 points, 5 boards, 6 assists. Feed into Brianna Jones and knocked away Washington basketball.
Yeah, great coverage early on by the Mystics, communicating and help coming right away as Brianna Jones looked to roll off of that screen.
Natasha Cloud, hands up, that jumper true. Tina Charles off to a good start, the WNBA's leading scorer.
And right away, we're seeing her increased range. We mentioned it at the top. She's been knocking down some threes, but her jump shot is something she's retooled a little bit and just worked on in the offseason in her year off.
Thomas, 3 balls short. Rebounded Charles. 3 straight games with at least 30 points. On the bounce, 3 ball. Atkins, too strong. The lefty comes up empty.
And that's a big focus for Curt Miller's team, is defending the three-point line. The Mystics love to launch it from behind the arc. They lead the entire league in attempts from behind the arc, so that's a focus all night.
Connecticut shooting it real well from 3 in comparison. And a jump ball is called. Had a chance to hear from both coaches prior to tip-off, and Mike Tebow believes it's going to be a chess match between our experience at guard and how we handle the front court that Curt Miller has with the Connecticut Sun, because Tebow really likes what he has at the guard position, specifically in Atkins and Cloud. Jonquel Jones fighting for the offensive rebound. No call for the ball out of bounds, and Breon January, welcome back. Another held ball.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one, because we know that coming into the season, everyone knew Connecticut was going to be strong in the paint with Jonquel, with Brianna Jones, but now they've really been shooting the ball well from the outside as well. So that adds a whole nother element to their offense. And it looks like maybe a tech was called as Ariel Atkins is heading down to the free throw line.
Atkins a perfect 10 for 10 now at the free throw line on the young season. Mystics at 2-3. Connecticut pacing the W at 5-1. This game is tabbed as a Commissioner's Cup game. Washington 1-2 in those contests. Connecticut 2-0.
Yeah, so it looks like they hit Jonquel Jones with the tech. So free throws and now back to a jump ball.
Thomas corrals applause from the Connecticut bench. Here's the double on Jonquel, fade away, well short.
And that was so well defended by Tina Charles. That's going to be quite the matchup down low, but Tina got Jonquel to really fade away on that shot and make it a lot more challenging.
Charles fires, a couple of hops off the iron. Last touched by DeWanna Bonner. Connecticut will live with Charles taking the outside shot as opposed to backing down on the block.
Yeah, we mentioned Tina has gotten better from behind the arc, but you'd absolutely rather her take those shots than to be bullying you inside the paint.
33% from three this year, 2 for 7 from deep on Tuesday. Fadeaway can't go.
And she's going to face a lot of length in this matchup, a lot of size. You know, they may switch who's guarding her at times. They have that flexibility. It might be Jonquel. It might be Brianna Jones. You may see Bonner switch on her. She's going to face length against this Connecticut Sun defense.
Miscommunication. Jasmine Thomas throws it away. Second turnover for Connecticut during the trip. Definitely cleaned up in terms of taking care of the basketball when you're playing those really tight games against those great teams out west. That was something that was an issue in that Atlanta opener and then last Wednesday when Indiana was in town. Here's Charles, one-on-one with JJ. Fade away, can't hit. Sun wants to push. Bonner looking on the block for Brianna Jones. Washington doing a great job guarding the ball. 6 to shoot, tapped away. Bonner is trapped. Loose ball. We're going back the other way. A loose ball foul against Brianna Jones.
Yeah, the Mystics have just been incredibly locked in defensively in this game early on. You see the strong double team there. Getting DeWanna Bonner trapped in the corner. Not so sure about that one. That was a good hustle by both teams, but the Mystics are really bringing the communication and are on the same page defensively in these opening minutes.
Weiss for three, knocks it down. Sydney Weiss, her second start of the season. She's drained 7 of her first 16 threes this year.
Yeah, Sydney Weiss in her first season with Washington had spent her entire career thus far with LA, and Coach Tebow loves her size as a 6-foot guard and that ability to knock down the three.
Superb last year with the Sparks, 47% from distance. Atkins can't hit. 6-0 start for Washington. Just about 4 minutes in. Jonquel Jones off the back iron. And the crowd continues to file in here at Mohegan. Some size after that miss. Sun 0 for 5. Cloud off the dribble. Here's Charles. Doubled. Little strong, tipped and corralled by JJ.
And that's what you want to do. You want to make shots tough for her. It was a great double team with Jones coming over to the other Jones, and you just want to try and make shots difficult for Tina Charles.
Charles setting up the rebound. DeWanna Bonner wanted the foul. She's second in the W in free throw attempts. Off the pick and roll, foul is called. Maisha Hines-Allen dashing to the basket. Free throws coming up for the fourth-year guard out of Louisville.
This was a beautiful two-man game, two-woman game. Natasha Cloud just kind of probing, seeing how the defense would read that screen. And you see Jonquel Jones just shaking her head, knowing she was a little bit late on that recovery. And the Mystics are happy to have Maisha Hines-Allen back in the lineup. She'd missed the first couple as she was finishing up with her team in France. And talk about a breakout season. Hines-Allen was incredible in the bubble in 2020.
Led the Mystics in scoring and rebounding. Runner-up for most improved player in the WNBA. Earned an all-second team spot. This, of course, was without Charles, and we should mention Elena Deladon out once again, has yet to play since those 2019 WNBA finals, still recovering from back surgery.
Yeah, Elena Deladon actually had her second back surgery, second one in December 2020. She's been back working out, but they're not yet sure on a timeline for when we will see the 2019 MVP.
8-0 start for the Mystics. Easy basket, counted and one. Great setup on the block for Connecticut. Dejanay Carrington. She was pivotal in that Seattle game on Tuesday.
And a great steal by Dejanay Carrington, a great read from Brianna Jones lobbing it in, and it just seems like a common theme. Anytime Dejanay Carrington enters the game, something good happens.
Natisha Heidemann fresh into the game, looks to bank one home. Charles the rebound, a quick outlet. Weiss almost had back court, sets up the offense. Carrington was available today at media, just staying ready. Maintains that as her key when getting in the basketball game. Atkins, a pretty look. 10-2 Washington. More than midway through this first quarter. Connecticut at 5-1. Carrington, 4-3, splash.
I mean, she's instant impact. She's not necessarily always instant scoring, so this is a boost. That's what Kurt Miller said. You know, when she scores for us, that's going to be a bonus. We want her to rebound, we want her to defend, but Carrington, wow, right away.
Weiss responds. Loves that spot here at Mohegan. That's why we heard during the days leading up to the WNBA draft, Carrington, a perfect fit, 3-and-D kind of player. Brianna January dumps it in, turned over. Transition a key for Kurt Miller's squad. Another try for Weiss, knocks it down. 11-point lead for Washington. What a start for the Mystics. We'll be back here at Mohegan Sun. Kurt Miller back to the drawing board. Welcome back to Mohegan Sun Arena. 11-point lead for the visiting Washington Mystics. Transition was a key, Kim, for Kurt Miller.
And specifically transition threes. This was his number one. We have to do well in this matchup. And Sydney Weiss knocking it down. That is why Kurt Miller had to call that timeout. We talked to him when he watched back the Seattle game. What are some things, you know, you'd like to do differently? And easy transition threes in that overtime period was the main focus, and he said that has to carry over into tonight's game because Washington is a three-point shooting and transition team. So right away, Washington is doing exactly what Kurt Miller does not want his team to allow.
You mentioned this before. Washington leads the W in three-point attempts per game. Brianna January along two. Nice to see her back on the court after nursing a left ankle sprain. 13th year guard, spent a majority of her career in Indiana. Charles over the left shoulder, and that's what Kurt Miller said. She can do it on both shoulders. That's what makes her so hard to stop.
Yeah, and she's freeing herself up by her teammates setting really strong screens from her. She just curled around a simple screen on the block and was just able to get Brianna Jones a step behind her.
Jonquel Jones dumps into Brianna Jones. Patience, lays it in.
That's the typical Brianna Jones finish that we've been seeing as she continues to become more of a primary scorer. She's just so persistent right in that block area. But wow, Tina Charles, I mean, woo!
Despite the double, the follow-away Jay goes. Washington back up 11. What it feels like, even though we're just 7.5 minutes into this one, this has been the most difficult game for Connecticut, generating easy baskets in the paint. That's a credit to this Washington defense. Carrington is fouled.
Dejanay Carrington has really been the bright spot so far. She has 5 of the 9 points off the bench, and she's just been really aggressive, and those driving lanes are going to open up because of how much attention that Jonquel Jones, Brianna Jones are demanding inside. She's capitalizing on that.
Changes for the Mystics. Erica McCall, Dewana Bonner's sister, has checked in. Weiss gets a break. Just picked up her second foul. Takes her out of rhythm a bit after making 3 3-pointers. 20-10.
And I'd like to see Connecticut start to pick up the intensity defensively. That's been their identity to start this season, and so far it's just been too easy for Washington to get good looks.
Charles has 6 points. Back the other way. It's a blocking foul. Counted and one for Carrington.
Dejanay Carrington just came off the bench with some fire under her. Carrington has just been on the attack, gets to the free throw line again. Count it. That is the official slogan of the WNBA's 25th season. I mean, she's got the hot pink nails going on as well. Dejanay Carrington, impressive start for the rookie.
Connecticut leads the W in offensive rebounds. Bree Jones to the rescue. Jonquel Jones for 3. Suddenly just a 5-point game.
And now we're starting to see Connecticut work within their offense a little bit more. That was a great screen set by a teammate that freed up Jonquel Jones. They're moving a little bit more, passing the ball, looking for the teammates.
Erica McCall in shock. Offensive foul setting the screen for Cloud. Sigh of relief for Kurt Miller's team. 0 turnovers for Washington in this first quarter until now. Carrington's been the spark, and we're going back the other way. McCall gets a whistle. Brianna Jones hit with the offensive foul.
Yeah, Brianna Jones was just moving a little bit too much, and sometimes that comes from the player coming off the screen as well, just waiting until your teammate is fully set before you run off that screen. But Brianna Jones just moved into the path of the defender and got that whistle against her.
Atkins steps into a J. Ariel Atkins, 4th year out of Texas. Tied for second with Natisha Heidemann of the Sun, and 3-pointers made. That's a 2 to put Washington up 7. Brianna Jones, by the way, just picked up her second personal foul. Here's Heidemann. Lost her dribble and a whistle from the sideline. Leilani Mitchell picks up the personal.
Washington just being super aggressive defensively. We talked about Connecticut wanting to get a bit more intense on that end. Well, Washington has brought it early on in this game defensively. They are up in your face. They're denying passes. They're chasing cutters around, making it really tough.
Great matchup here between Jonquel Jones and Tina Charles. On the swing, 4 to shoot with under a minute to go in the quarter. Heidemann off the fake, fires and connects. Natisha Heidemann remains red hot from distance.
No way. Oh my God, that was a high degree of difficulty on that one, Natisha.
On the road trip, went 7 of 19 from downtown. Washington responds. Charles displays the range.
Tina said, I'm not just a post player. Let me show you what I can do out here.
A long 2 for Charles, up to 8 points. Someone's open. Thomas drives off the window.
Beautiful take, strong first step, and then just controlling her body, getting that extension. Jasmine Thomas, the veteran, who's going to try and get this team back energized.
Mystics can hold for the final shot. Not sure what that was.
Ooh. Did they call a foul on the shot or off the ball?
Shavante Zealous floated one up.
She wanted the jump. She wanted the free throws, but they're going to call it on the floor.
Zealous, another veteran off the bench for Mike Tebow, 12 years out of Pittsburgh. Charles faces the double. Atkins, triple. Just off the mark. Washington shoots 53% in the opening quarter. Connecticut started 0 for 5, 8 for 15, good for 53%. fighting their way back in. Natisha Heidemann, welcome home. The stroke is still smooth.
Well, we talked about how well Natisha Heidemann has been playing, especially from behind the arc. How about this one? Shot clock expiring way deep from behind the arc. Don't sleep. Don't sleep on me. That is what Natisha has been telling the league. And, I mean, I think she's earned the right to say that. We mentioned her numbers off the top, but wow, that was a much-needed shot for the team just to get them kind of back in that mindset. They were a little sluggish to start. That was an energizing shot for sure.
When your nickname is Swaggy, there is no time to sleep. Great hustle on the defensive end. Those are the things that Heidemann can do. And for more, here's Robin Brown, courtside.
Well, Brendan, when Dejanay was selected in the draft in that second round, she was leaving from Baylor as the 6th woman of the year. And she said, I was either heading to Connecticut and I was going to make a roster or I was going to be sent back home. And she said that the one thing that was tough to adjust at this level was the pace of the game. But the one thing that I would be able to control was my aggressiveness. And we're seeing her do that just now.
One thing that Carrington always brings up, and thank you, Robin, for that hit on Dejanay. Shot clock to 4. Tough look, fadeaway, way strong from McCall. Carrington always starts with the defensive end, and that's exactly what Kurt Miller has preached since training camp started. Can we generate our offense from our defense? And that's why Carrington, we heard Rebecca Lobo say it, we heard LaChina Robinson say it, just a perfect fit for this basketball team.
Yeah, and you know, she went in the second round. Connecticut didn't have a first-round pick, and many thought that she was good enough to be in the first round, myself included, but I think she's got to be pretty happy with the situation she ended up in. You know, she may have felt slighted a little bit to start, but to be on one of the best teams in the league thus far, and this is the most we've seen her come into the game early on. I think in the Seattle game, she didn't come in until the second half, so we're seeing the coaches really trust her now and to put her in early, and man, she has earned her time on the floor.
When Heidemann had to get out of the game because of the calf bruise, no January, so the depth was limited, and Carrington rose to the occasion with that reverse layup to force overtime.
And that was the only basket scored in that game from a Sun player off the bench. They had 2 bench points. Everything else came from the starters. So now they have a little bit more depth with Breon January back, but that's something that they want to, you know, think about. Those starters played heavy minutes in that overtime loss.
Washington has done a tremendous job limiting Jonquel Jones out of the gate in terms of her scoring. This time disrupting the passing lane for Zealous on the baseline. Jonquel Jones, in her 5 years in the WNBA, 44 career double-doubles. When she records a double-double, her team is 33-11. That's a 75 win percentage. It's been a great matchup out of the gate between her and Tina Charles. Another deflection. Heidemann was certain that was Sun basketball.
No doubt in her mind.
Shot clock had reset, so now it's down to 10. Mitchell picks up the dribble, swings, 3, way strong. Hines Allen saved momentarily by Zealous, but stepped on the end line. Just the 3rd turnover for Washington. Connecticut has 5. Jasmine Thomas out there with Carrington, JJ, Bonner, and Heidemann. Turnover Sun.
And that's one where you just want to reverse it and allow Jonquel to repost, because that was well defended with a denial. So you want to allow her to repost and get the ball from somewhere else.
Hines Allen, the runner-up for most improved last year. Around the screen, Connecticut foul. That might be one knock on Heidemann's game over these first 6+ games, as she does tend to get in foul trouble. Can't hurt, though, the aggressiveness. You just got to let. It's always better when you have to level it back a notch.
Yeah, you just, you don't want to change who you are as a defender, but you just have to be smart about how many fouls you have, and sometimes you can't be quite as aggressive if you've got, 2 fouls early on or 5 fouls. Leilani Mitchell knocking it down for Washington.
Long 2 for Mitchell. 13th year guard will be 36 on June 15th. Carrington uses the left hand, high off glass.
It's the Dejanay Carrington show right now for the Sun. She is locked in offensively on her drives.
Offensive rebound, Mystics. Carrington has 10 points to lead all scorers. Hines Allen to the basket. Connecticut this year leads the W as it did last year in second chance points. That attributes to how well they offensive rebound. The Mystics coming into this game through 5 contests, 10th. So getting those second chance points. Rare to see. Bonner off that pivot foot, rattles in. DeWanna Bonner finally on the board.
That's just tough. I was going to say that was pretty well defended by Sydney Weiss, but DeWanna Bonner just with that counter move right at the end to pivot back the other way to get a little bit of separation.
Fair to say that Mike Tebow is saying, let's take away the post and see if their guards can beat us?
Yeah, they have been collapsing inside. They're really denying post-entry passes. They're sending a crowd. So John Cole Jones is going to have to work to repost to get the ball inside.
Bonner does what she does best, drawing a foul and going to the free throw line for the first time tonight. It felt like right there she took a deep breath, surveyed the defense, and went to work.
Yeah, this has been the staple of her game. Not too much contact there, it didn't look like, but it seems like when DeWanna Bonner just wants to get a bucket, she could get it, or get to the free throw line. Something she does a lot and does very well is shoot from the free throw line.
Bonner second in the league in free throw attempts. Tied for first after last night. 90.6%. 30 for 33 on the year. Washington once led by 11. 20-9. Suddenly, its deficit is just 1, with under 7 to go in this first half. Mitchell, Charles back in the game after a brief rest. Around the screen, Cloud. Mitchell. Tina Charles, that's Hines Allen, pardon me. Fade away goes.
Maisha Hines Allen, she had DeWanna Bonner guarding her, which is very difficult to shoot over the top of DeWanna Bonner's arms, but great footwork, a great move to create that separation and use her strength in that matchup.
Maisha Hines Allen, 6 points. Charles has 8. Weiss still leads all Mystics scorers with 9. And for Connecticut, Carrington with 10. 4 for 4 from the field. She's back on the bench. All starters in for the Sun with the exception of Jonquel Jones. Shot clock to 8. Brianna Jones on the double. Swatted by Charles. Brianna Jones back up. Almost got it to go. Free throws coming.
Brianna Jones is the offensive rebounding queen of the WNBA. This was really well defended by Tina Charles. Physical in the post, but somehow Brianna Jones just always gets that positioning to get those O boards. She has 19 offensive rebounds so far this season through 6 games. That's more than 3 a game. She's just sneaky about her approach and kind of where she slides in to get those O boards.
Feels she dusted off the cobwebs after that first game we did here when the Phoenix Mercury were in town. On the road trip, shot 57% from the floor, 21 for 37. Jones is getting about 12 looks a game and shooting at a very high percentage. So with this team, with all the balance and all that talent in the front court, Got to pick your spots. Hines Allen called for an offensive foul. That is her second. We'll step aside. First half winding down. Tawana Bonner giving up her body. Welcome back to Mohegan Sun. Brendan Glasheen, Kim Adams, and Robin Brown. The WNBA national TV schedule. Connecticut's next opponent, Minnesota Lynx, in Seattle tonight, 10 Eastern on CBS Sports Network. So I'm sure Kurt Miller and his team will be taking a look before they head out to Minnesota on Sunday. And then Tuesday, doubleheader on ESPN2, Phoenix at Chicago. No Taurasi, no Parker. Maybe Parker's back at that point. Indiana at Seattle, 10 Eastern, ESPN2. Injuries are adding up. Both coaches had thoughts on that, and that might be the one blemish in terms of looking at the early part of this season.
Yeah, a reporter, Miles Ehrlich, he was asking Kurt Miller about the schedule, and Kurt Miller had some pretty strong feelings about how compact everything is right now. You know, they didn't really have a day off after that road trip out west. He said our day off was a full day of travel that started with 4:15 a.m. COVID testing.
4-on-2 break for Connecticut after Bonner wrestled down the defensive board. Charles ends up fouling her. Jasmine Thomas just drained a three to give Connecticut its first lead, 31-30.
And I think it's all started with Connecticut getting back to their defensive principles. I thought they were a little bit loose on that end to start the game. They weren't switching like they normally were. They weren't communicating, but they've tightened things up on that end, and that's what spurred on the offense.
Well, the Sun has been so stout defensively, leads the W in rebounding. Their average field goal percentage is just 44. A night like tonight where shots weren't going early, they're up to 55% shooting, 11 for 20. Midway through this second quarter, Charles has 8 in this one. Atkins with 7 to shoot. On the attack, Bree Jones with the denial. Here comes Heidemann. Jasmine Thomas on that stutter step, kicks it. Open Bonner, 3 in the air, yes!
Tawana Bonner shooting better than 50% from 3 this season, and we talked to her about that today because the last couple seasons she's been in the mid-20s, and this is by far the best she shot from 3. She said she was really disappointed with how she shot in the bubble. Tina Charles right back at him, but Tawana Bonner said that is what she really worked on in the offseason, just getting back to the fundamentals, working on her follow through, and shooting better than 50% from deep for Bonner.
12 years in the league. Will be 34 in August. Youngsters, take notes. Still working on her game. And you've been impressed with Tina Charles off the floor this season, just also, of course, being the leading scorer in the WNBA.
Yes, Tina Charles, I had a chance to talk to her a little bit earlier in the season, but she has an incredible foundation, Hopi's Heart Foundation, that since 2013 she's been dedicating her WNBA salary to it, and it was founded in memory of her late aunt, Maureen Hopi Vaz, and it raises awareness for sudden cardiac arrest and places AEDs at nonprofit organizations. So it's an incredible organization. Tina Charles does so much great stuff off of the court as well.
Atkins in and out, offensive rebound, gets in after the ball was loose, and Atkins cleans up her own mess. 7 points for Ariel Atkins. Breon January slings it, Bonner, extra pass, Heidemann. Too strong, maybe was surprised she got a look. Jasmine Thomas feeds, but a foul. Unselfish play. That's the cohesion Jasmine Thomas talked about the other day.
Yeah, and rebounding has been so strong for Connecticut to start this season. Jonquel Jones tapping it out, getting it over to Thomas. But they've gotten, as you mentioned earlier, a ton of production off of second chance points to start the season.
Jasmine Thomas on the young season, 5 for 7 from the free throw line. Connecticut through the first 6 games of the 2021 season. A rebounding margin of plus 11.8. This game, plus 2. Charles is a top 10 rebounder in the W, like Jonquel Jones, so it was bound to be a battle. Weiss over the shoulder. Hines Allen draws contact. Now outlets. Weiss looking for triple number 4. It goes.
Sydney Weiss is perfect from behind the arc in this game. 4 for 4. And Connecticut just has not rotated out on her quickly enough.
Jonquel Jones with the answer. 7 in the game for JJ. And another point on Weiss. The rest of the team is 0 for 7 from 3. Atkins has been the sharpshooter out of the gate for this team. And Jonquel just can't believe it. Frustrated. Hit with another foul. That is her second. All right, we will step aside. Connecticut was once down 11 in this first half, leading by 1 here at Mohegan Sun. Connecticut head coach Kurt Miller preaches defensive transition. And Kim, this is getting on the glass as Connecticut has done all season in creating offensive transition.
This was such a beautiful sequence. Started with Brianna Jones on the block. And then this is the epitome of team basketball. Jasmine Thomas just tiptoeing that line, swinging it around. Dewana Bonner at 6'4". Yeah, she had a smile about that one. That is beautiful team basketball. Clip that one, show it to your teams, watch it back a couple times. But defense to offense started with Brianna Jones on the block, ending with the DB3.
Hines Allen offensive rebound. Those have added up for Washington to keep the battle close. JJ steps through the D and lays it in. 9 points for Jonquel Jones.
And that's how you channel your frustration. Going to break, I thought that was maybe the first time of the season where I've seen Jonquel look visibly frustrated. And I think that timeout was good for her, but good for Tina Charles as well, who continues to show us she's got that deep range in her game this season.
14 points, 6 of 11 shooting for Charles. She's notched 30-plus points in 3 straight games, leads the W in scoring. Under 2 to go in the first half. What a take to the basket, Jasmine Thomas.
Jasmine Thomas just such a good job of kind of slithering her body through a couple defenders there and having the ability to finish.
Thomas has 9. Charles back to work, this time inside.
Tina Charles, man. 32 years old, looking like she's in her rookie season. Coach Tebow said she came in the best shape of anybody on the team in this year's training camp.
Charles' first season suiting up with the Mystics. Sat out the Wobble season. Had a pre-existing condition with asthma, so decided to opt out. Was traded from New York. Spent 4 years here in Connecticut to begin her career. So the previous play now under review. At the moment, we are tied at 43. Heidemann, right now it says Heidemann with the foul. Atkins drew it. They had a 2-on-1 potentially. One of those situations where Heidemann was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're looking at it as a potential clear path foul. Let's see, that was a quick decision. Let's see what they said. Call stands, it'll just be a common foul on Natisha Heidemann.
We are up in the concourse where the fans trickle in. Still a 30 feet rule based on the COVID protocols for fans as well as the broadcasters. That's why it's great to have our friend Robin Brown, part of our great team here with the Mohegan Sun, Connecticut Sun broadcast team. Robin is the eyes and ears down on the court. We got a good one here at Mohegan, 43-43. Connecticut once trailed by 11 points. Weiss has drained 4 threes. foul on the floor. This is against January. Team foul number 5. So that means free throws for Atkins.
And this is where both teams need to start to adjust a little bit. In the top corner, you see January talking to the official a little bit, but both teams have been very aggressive defensively. They are bumping cutters. They're in the passing lane. So the players just need to know that officials are calling the holds. If you're holding a cutter while you're trying to deny a pass, those have been whistled. They're calling a tight game.
Teresa Plaisance, former member of the Sun, played with the team in the Wobble last year, checks in. Washington 6 for 6 from the free throw line, leads the W in team free throw percentage. Jasmine Thomas plays around the screens. Heidemann was open, great rotation by Atkins. Shot clock to 7, tipped out of bounds. Washington displaying something similar we've seen with Connecticut. Washington's been consistent in this first half, disrupting those passing lanes, in the post specifically.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. They are really working inside, denying Jonquel Jones the ball, and they're doing it as a team. They're sending doubles.
Kurt Miller takes timeout. 46 seconds to go. Shot clock at 6 for Connecticut. We will keep it here. It was 19 months ago when these two teams met in the 2019 WNBA Finals. The key for Washington out of the gate has been health. Charles being back in the mix and now waiting for Elena Deladon. Mystics should be right back in the mix for a championship. They've made 2 of the last 4 WNBA Finals.
Yeah, Washington also missing another key piece in Alicia Clark, who they signed from the Seattle Storm, a 2-time WNBA champion. She had surgery on her right foot, so that's somebody who Coach Tebow thought was going to be, a big part of what they would do this season. So between Alicia Clark out for the season, Elena Deladon, no timetable yet on her return, but man, has Tina Charles answered the call for needed scoring, needed defense, needed leadership. She's really been incredible to start the season.
There's no question Clark brings the championship pedigree with that championship with the Seattle Storm in the Wobble. And of course, we'd be remiss not to mention that Alyssa Thomas is out for the season for Connecticut. And that's when you just, both teams, you can't help it, but you start wondering, like, what if we had all the pieces together?
Right.
What it would look like and how we would match up and stand in the league. If Alyssa Thomas was here with both Jones and then Bonner, I think you start wondering with a 5-1 record to begin the season.
Right. It's tough to think about, but the teams have adapted well, most notably the Sun for the start they've had.
The media is allowed to do that. 5 to shoot for Bonner. Heidemann goes down. JJ fires. Had to get it off. Let's see if Washington looks for a 2-for-1. Heidemann gets bulldozed. No call. Charles up top. Uses that head fake. Fades. Fires. Heading to the line. Good to see Heidemann hop right back up.
Yeah, she got rocked by a screen. I thought this was illegal. This is legal. It just wasn't called out by a teammate, or maybe it was, and Heidemann didn't hear. Plaisance set a really solid screen, and unfortunately Heidemann just hit it like a brick wall. But she's up. She's still in.
Charles to the free throw line, 17 points. Leads the team in free throw percentage. Leads the W in free throw attempts at 33 coming into tonight. 3 for 3 in this one. There is a 3.5-second differential, game clock and shot clock. Washington's largest lead of the first half, 4 points. Connecticut once led by 5.
And that's a mismatch now. You have Natasha Cloud on Jonquel Jones. That's where you want to get it into her.
JJ draws the trees, and everybody from the Mystics throws their hands up straight. How can that be a foul? JJ's getting free throws.
At first glance, I thought it was pretty solid defense by Plaisance. Let's take another look. had the mismatch. Yeah, to me, that is solid defense. That's staying vertical. I don't think she moved into the body at all, but alas, Jonquel Jones at the free throw line.
Connecticut 7 for 13 from the stripe now.
That was an issue that Kurt Miller talked about from last season and previous seasons. Somewhere they need to be better, and tonight it's been shaky.
Jonquel Jones up to 10 points. 2 seconds to fire. Charles got it off. Not shy to get her shots. 13 attempts, made 7. 18 points to lead all scorers through 20 minutes of play.
This has been a fun one. I thought Washington struck first, and then Connecticut settled in a little bit, got back to how they like to play defensively, and there is some high-powered offense, individual talent on display in this game.
Well, you said it Sunday, Connecticut had trouble getting production from off the bench. So far in this one, Heidemann moving into a reserve role, 3 points, made a contested 3. Dejanay Carrington, superb first half, 10 points on 4 of 4 shooting. She is now joined by our own Robin Brown.
Dejanay, just 7 games into your career, already double digits, and we're in the first half. How do you feel about your production thus far?
Definitely left a few after at the line, but you know, I tried to just come in and have energy. That's what the coaches have been talking to me and a couple of the other bench players about, just bringing energy. So that's what I tried to do.
When Kurt Miller calls your number and you come in from the bench, you're waiting to check in, what's the approach?
I mean, I just think of it like any other game. Same ball, same basket I've always played with, but just higher stakes. And, I mean, everyone on this team from 1 all the way down to 11, we all know how to play basketball. So when we get out there, we just got to be confident and do what we've been doing forever.
Thanks, Dejanay. Brendan?
Hey, Robin, thank you very much, and thank you to Dejanay Carrington. 3-point game at halftime. Washington leads Connecticut 47-44. We begin our halftime coverage at Mohegan. Start of the third quarter coming up. Mystics lead the Sun 47-44. Brendan Glasheen, Kim Adams, Robin Brown, our broadcast team here tonight at Mohegan. Much anticipated matchup between Jonquel Jones and Tina Charles. 5 games played for the Mystics, 6 for Connecticut, which, if you can believe it, that's a 6th of the schedule for the Sun. But 2 players that are right in the mix, maybe 1-2, 1A, 1B for MVP. And they've both brought it tonight.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch. Tina Charles has been guarding Jonquel Jones. For the most part, it's been Brianna Jones guarding Tina Charles, but both of them are going to work. And what I think is important for Connecticut to keep Jonquel Jones moving in this game is literally to keep her moving around. A solid, just single post-up is not working in this game. Washington is defending that well. Jonquel Jones has had success in this game when she's been screening, when she's been cutting, when they've moved her around. So I think that's going to be clutch for Connecticut and Jonquel in the second half.
Maisha Hines-Allen breaks the press, full court look.
Yeah, how about
Connecticut
that?
Defensively.
right out of the locker room, 94 feet, okay.
Well, Kurt Miller's defense might be the team started slow. Right out of the gate, another offensive rebound for Hines-Allen. Weiss the extra pass. Atkins off the back iron. Rebound to Charles, another offensive rebound, and a foul over the back. That might be Brianna Jones, and that would be her 3rd. Yep, it is.
Yeah, normally Brianna Jones does a really good job of boxing out. That time she didn't box out. She just tried to grab the rebound. When you're defending Tina Charles, you have to get a body on her and push her out.
3 rebounds on that sequence. These are the 2 of the top 3 teams in the W. While it is a small sample size, 2 of the top 3 teams in the league in offensive rebounding. Charles goes 1 for 2.
Now Atkins put in on a little full court pressure. Okay.
Remember, these 2 teams met in the finals. While rosters are a little different, Jonquel Jones off to a good start in the second half. 13 points.
Yeah, that's what I just hit on. She's they've defended her well in the post, but that's why she's such a tough guard, because she can hurt you in many different facets of the game. That time doing it from 3, but she too whistles for another foul early in the second half.
45% from 3 coming into this one, 13 for 29. Jonquel Jones, 3 for 4 from distance. I mean, when the commentary surrounding JJ in the early season, well, she's 6'6", and then they comment on the range, because that's been the strength of her game. That's what's opened everything up for her.
Yeah, and just listening to some of her media availabilities over the past couple of days, Jonquel Jones has really said the steps she's taken this season has more been mentally. She doesn't get flustered like when she was a younger player. Things are going wrong and you kind of pout, put your head down. She said, I don't do that anymore. My confidence never wavers, which is, you know, coincidentally what Natisha told Robin, but I think we're seeing the whole team play that way.
Traveling call, Natasha Cloud in the corner. For a second, I thought Charles was going to go right at Bree Jones and try to pick up her 4th foul. Instead, they ended up having an open shooter, but great rotation by the Sun.
Yeah, interesting choice by Kurt Miller, leaving Brianna Jones in the game right now with the 3rd foul.
JJ was feeling it from that spot. Here comes Weiss. 48-47. Washington once led by 11 in the first half. Cloud tight ropes the baseline, turns it over. Sun has numbers. Bonner decides to slow it up. Jonquel Jones knocked away by Charles. This matchup is getting juicy. Step through.
Oh.
Bonner denies Charles. Last touched by Washington. Connecticut ball.
What a sequence. I mean, you have Tina Charles poking it away from Jonquel, then going coast to coast like a point center. And then Dewana Bonner getting back for the block. Those are 3 of the top 10 scorers in the WNBA.
Kind of sneaky. Bonner is averaging 1 block per game through 6 contests. 2 minutes in. Shot clock to 6. Thomas dumps it back in. Knocked away. Hines Allen deflecting the basketball. Atkins backs down. Washington takes its time. Cloud, DeWeese, 3 in the air, strong.
And that's the first miss from Sydney Weiss. We mentioned that 4 of 4 start from deep.
Oh man, Jonquel Jones heating up. 4 for 5 from distance. And Connecticut has the lead by 2.
As a 6'6" that is absurd.
Jonquel has now made 17 threes on 36 attempts. That's nearly 50%. Short rim 3 by Atkins. The other thing we should mention is Jonquel can bring the ball up the floor. Now with Jasmine Thomas back in the mix, she doesn't even have to do that. Bree Jones spins off the shoulder. Double comes, doesn't matter.
That's been a matchup too. Maisha Hines Allen inside. Doesn't have quite the height of Jones and company, but she's got the strength to bully with them inside.
Hines Allen in and out. Get the sense Connecticut feeling more confident offensively. The most it's felt all game. The brand of basketball it played to get off to a 5-0 start. Dumps it in, and Jones, another easy basket. Timeout by Tebow. Largest lead for Connecticut in this ball game. It's 6. Easy buckets everywhere.
Welcome back to Mohegan Sun, where the Sun have opened up a 6-point lead over the Mystics. This has just been fun to watch, and this sequence sums it up perfectly. Tina Charles with the steal, but then Dewana Bonner was hyped. 2 veterans in the league going at it. Tina Charles has been outstanding. She has 19. Jonquel Jones has been outstanding. She has 16. But they're just, the veteran presence in this game with Bonner, with Charles, and they're playing like they're in their prime. It's been insane.
Let's go to our friend down on the sideline, Robin Brown, for more on Dewana Bonner.
Well, Brendan, just this morning, LaChina Robinson and Tarika Foster-Brasby released a new podcast episode around the rim, and they brought DeWanna Bonner on the show. And I was listening it on my drive-in, and she really took the time to break down her game. She said when she entered the league, I was one-dimensional. I really only rebounded the ball. But a decade later, after studying after Diana Taurasi, she learned how to develop her shot, her intensity, and we're seeing a product of that tonight.
Weiss's three strong. Connecticut's lead remains 4. Awesome. Love to hear it. And Tarika's in the house once again here at Mohegan.
Tarika's putting on the full court press. I mean, she's everywhere. She's producing, she's reporting, she's hosting. But yeah, I listened to that interview as well, Robin, and it was really interesting to hear. And she said just the confidence that being a teammate of Diana Taurasi gives you, and right on cue. There is DeWanna Bonner going back to her roots of attacking, but as she mentioned in that interview, she's really expanded her range, and we talked about it earlier, her three-point shooting has been about 20% better this season than it's ever been in her 11-year career.
54% this season for Bonner. And it's funny that the block on Charles was brought up today during media availability. Bonner was asked just the challenge of facing Tina Charles, and DeWanna didn't even touch the question. We're prepared for the whole team, just displaying and acknowledging how locked in she was. It's about the team effort on the defensive end. Cloud, wide open three, can't hit. 6-point lead for Connecticut remains midway through this third quarter. It's a 2019 WNBA Finals rematch. Connecticut hoping to get back to the promised land. Washington has been to the finals in 2 of the last 4 years. Kick out, Thomas, three, bottom.
Textbook extra pass, look opposite from Brianna Jones, who drew 3 defenders, stayed patient, and kicked out to Thomas, who knocked it down.
Connecticut this season, second in the W in three-point percentage. They love to get on the break. Count it and 1 for Brianna Jones.
Brianna Jones sometimes seems to be more reserved, the quiet one of this group, but right now she is feeling it, and rightfully so. She was on the assist to the 3 the possession before, and now this time getting a chance at 3.
That is a 12, check that, 8-0 run for Connecticut. A 10-0 run prior to the media timeout. 62-50. Whipping it around the perimeter. Hines Allen just spits out. Everything's going Connecticut's way right now.
Yeah, that was a nice possession from Washington, moving that ball around, but the length of Connecticut in the paint just impacted that final shot.
Mentioned this in the first half. Connecticut, through 6 games, 44% shooting. In this one, 61.8%, 21 of 34. 11 of 17 from the free throw line, 9 of 15 from 3. 60% from distance. Three-point shooting has been a huge improvement. Washington now is frustrated. January went down to the deck.
Yeah, it's getting physical, down low, inside. We mentioned both teams have just been really aggressive defensively.
You get the sense the Mystics now are trying to dig in a little deeper, impose their will. Got to make some sort of a run. January fade away, in and out. Charles secures the miss.
And Weiss is still down on the other end. She's trying to work her way up.
5th-year guard out of Oregon State has had a phenomenal game. Tumbles there, trying to crash the boards.
Yeah, just kind of landed awkwardly as she was trying to defend that quick move from January, and just legs buckled a little bit. hopefully it's nothing more than a little awkward landing and a twist that we've seen early on. But that's how Breon January was injured.
Sydney Weiss, we hope she's okay. She'll be 26 in just a couple of weeks, mid-June. First year with Washington. Oh, just an awkward landing.
Yeah, that right ankle completely turned over. I mean, looking at it, you hope that it'll be nothing worse than an ankle sprain.
Sure.
But of course, she looks like she's in a ton of pain, and she'd been having such a tremendous game. 12 points on 4 of 6 from 3. So we send good vibes to Sydney Weiss.
Breon January, who took the shot, can attest. She had a similar situation occur last Wednesday against Indiana. January had to miss the entire road trip out west. It's a big spot now for Washington, losing one of their hottest shooters tonight. Mitchell for 3, got it. Nice look by Charles, and that might be the step Tina Charles has to take. Sacrifice some scoring to get others involved.
Yeah, because you saw Connecticut sent a strong double team on her right away, so it was a great read to kick out and move that ball around the perimeter.
Heidemann steps right into it. Washington probably thinks, finally, Connecticut's human. It misses. Down to just 56% from 3. Hines Allen is hit from behind.
I just love watching Maisha Hines Allen inside. I mean, like we said, she's not that big in terms of height. She's 6'1", a lot of times going up against 6'4", that time in Beatrice Bonpremier, but she does not back down from a matchup, and she just muscles her way inside.
The go-to scorer down in Bradenton in the Wubble for this Washington team, which finished 9-13, 8th overall in the standings, scored in double figures in all but 2 games, really took on that leadership role to keep that team going. With no Charles, no Deladon. That's what she's really carved out a role for herself with this team, and she was sensational at Louisville a couple years ago. Runner-up for most improved player in the league last year, earned an all-second team spot. Now it's down to 7. Connecticut was up 12 moments ago. Shot clock to 8. Bonner, deep 3. Off the right side, rebound to Atkins. Washington pushes. Natasha Cloud. Atkins around the screen. Cloud on the block. Bonpremier guards tightly. Hines Allen going back to the free throw line.
She does not let up. I think the fans are looking for a little hook here. Ooh, yeah, may have gotten away with a tiny hook, but that's her game, just nonstop. And I was listening to her media availability yesterday, and she said she believes she's in the best conditioned shape she's been in since she's been in the league. She said she was playing in France, and the practices, the full court 2-a-days just got her in what she thinks is the best shape of her life. She even, went back to look at physical fitness tests, and the numbers confirm. So Maisha Hines Allen had an incredible season last year, but she may be primed for an even bigger one now.
6-0 run for Washington. Jonquel Jones trying to end it. Numbers. Atkins. Mitchell. Dribble drive. And a foul as she attacked.
You gotta love when the player raises the hands. I mean, just Natisha Heidemann said that was on me, making the officials' job a little bit easier.
2,100 fans here at Mohegan Sun, and now how about Washington slowing the game down? Connecticut was thriving there before the media break, getting out on transition, making open threes, easy looks for Jones on the block. Now just slowing the game down. 8-0 run.
Yeah, and they've locked in more defensively. I thought they were really strong defensively to start the game. They made Connecticut uncomfortable on that end, and then Connecticut went on their run, but now they're locking in on the matchups a bit better.
Bonpremier out there with January, Heidemann, JJ, little alley-oop action.
Oh,
Bonpremier,
yeah,
he said, ooh, an elbow, right. which is just tough because that's just trying to be physical and playing through it.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything intentional here. I don't know what the fans are booing about because it was a clear elbow. I don't think she, was ill-advised with it. She was just making an aggressive move, but happened to catch Tina Charles straight across the face.
That was quick. Montpremier, 3 fouls in 2 minutes. Kurt Miller has not gone to Dejanay Carrington off the bench yet in this second half. 10 first-half points for Carrington.
Yeah, that is interesting. She was such a spark defensively, offensively.
Might have to now because that's Bree Jones' 4th foul. The crowd does not like it. Coming up on a minute left in his 3rd quarter, and Breonna Jones. The look says it all, and Breon January to the rescue.
Let's take another look here. Oh, was that the whistle right there? It looked like Atkins just tripped over Jones's foot. I gotta be with Breonna Jones on that one. I mean, it looked, she wasn't even looking at Atkins. Atkins just kind of tripped over her foot, and unfortunately Jones whistled for the foul, and a big one in her 4th.
So it's Mystics ball, down 4. Washington, as Connecticut taught Seattle in the 4th quarter on Tuesday. It's a game of runs, basketball, and Mystics are right back in it. As a reminder, Connecticut is on the road Sunday, visiting Minnesota. Lynx are in action tonight at 10 Eastern in Seattle. So they go to Seattle and then host the Sun on Sunday. You can catch the game on Nesson. 7 o'clock Eastern time tip-off. Connecticut is home again on Tuesday. Las Vegas Aces come to town.
Quick rematch.
Yeah,
from
right.
the game in Vegas just last week. And then they'll take on Seattle pretty soon again, too. The schedule has unfolded in interesting ways this season. A lot of teams are playing multiple matchups within a matter of days or weeks.
You get the sense Tebow and Miller, they've been in this league for a long time, especially Tebow, the all-time winningest coach in the W. Let's get to that Olympic break. Then we can reset and then rev it back up to get to September. Got to stay in the moment, though, because if it's such short season, 32 games.
Yeah, especially for Washington as they, hope that they get Elena Deladon back at some point.
Atkins looking to get going. Started 0 for 6 from 3, her first triple of the night. Washington on a 10-0 run.
Atkins shooting close to 50% from 3 on the season, and she's been especially hot in her last couple of games from deep.
Shot clock to 8. Breonna Jones in there with 4 fouls, lowers that shoulder, and she's hit with an offensive foul.
I could see that developing, and I got nervous.
Here comes Dejanay Carrington to the scorer's table.
Let's take a look here. I did see a little bit of a hook. I thought you couldn't see it too well from that exact angle, but it does look like Breonna Jones had a slight hook. And again, the crowd here does not like it, but like you had just mentioned, it was interesting that Kurt Miller chose to leave her in with just a minute to go in this 3rd quarter.
To defend Jones there, it felt like that whistle, as you said, you saw it coming, it felt a little predetermined. If you make one more move, I'm going to put you in timeout. Off the window, offensive rebound. Hines Allen.
Relentless.
Washington has the lead. Down 12, now up 1, a 13-0 run. January's heave, well short. Well, Connecticut was feeling good midway through this 3rd quarter. Washington fighting to stay in it. We make the turn for home. 4th quarter coming up here at Mohegan Sun. Ten minutes to go here at Mohegan Sun. Connecticut looking to improve its record to 6-1 on the season, which they did back in 2018. Year before making the finals, facing this Washington team. Mystics, Kim, riding a 13-0 run.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of credit to Washington. There's DeWanna Bonner, but Washington coming into this game just 2-3, some tough losses, but they're going head-to-head, toe-to-toe here with one of the top teams in the league early on. They're starting to get some chemistry. Hines Allen's back in a big way. They're looking good.
Hines Allen definitely looking for her own shot inside, relieving Tina Charles a bit, who is up top guarding Bonner, who just got an easy basket. Let's go to Robin Brown on the sideline.
Brendan, I know you and Kim are calling this game from the concourse, but I had the opportunity to listen into Kurt Miller's last huddle, and he said it's about digging in right now. Washington went on that 13-0 run, and you saw them emerge from the huddle. DeWanna with that two-pointer, so he said it's not about controlling all the possessions, just one at a time.
Bonner, another J, 2-for-2 start in this fourth quarter. That's taking their time, staying in the offense.
Yeah, and this is where Kurt Miller really wants to see his team lock in defensively. I was also just thinking Natasha Cloud has been very quiet. That's her first field goal of the evening. Natasha Cloud right through the paint.
Bonner with 13. Swings to January, tipped. JJ back up strong. Jonquel Jones has 18.
And that's where she had the size advantage. She had 6'1" Hines Allen blocking her out, but at 6'6", able to just sky up and get that O board.
And that offensive rebound gives Jonquel Jones another double-double. 6 straight games with a double-double. The only exception to the season was the opener. We've talked about this. When she gets a double-double, this team normally wins the game. Connecticut up 3, 90 seconds into this fourth quarter on the inbound. A foul, and January is irate. Looking for Atkins here on the delivery by Cloud.
Yeah, I mean, there was a slight grab there on the cut. We mentioned they've been calling a tight game throughout. A couple players now in foul trouble. 5 for January, 5 for Brianna Jones for Connecticut.
Dejanay Carrington up at the top of the key guarding Cloud. Deflects that ball. JJ had it, now Bonner secures. All started with Dejanay Carrington. Bonner, pull up Jay. Left it strong, Carrington crashes, rebound to Charles. Mitchell, loose ball. Heidemann, it's a hot potato. Nice bounce pass by JJ into Bonner. It's denied by Washington. Neither team giving up on possessions. Now Atkins has her pocket picked. Everyone can take a breath.
Yeah, it was a little helter-skelter there for the last couple times down the floor. You don't want to turn over the turnover. You want to convert, especially in this tight game. Fourth quarter, an easy bucket is hard to come by. You want to convert on those deflections and steals.
Philosophies and preparation by both coaches shining through. Shot clock dwindles to 10. Heidemann attacks, draws the contact. Heading to the line, Erica McCall hits her on the back, lower back area.
Yeah, Heidemann just using that speed and then nice body control, getting into McCall to draw that foul. Giving up some strength and height in that matchup, but taking it right at her.
Heidemann this season now 8 for 13 at the free throw line. Leads the team in plus minus through 6 games. You can't miss her, even though she's one of the smaller players on this team at 5'8". You can't miss her when she's on the floor, making impacts on both ends.
Yeah, I was just noticing her kicks too. You can't miss those. I've never seen those before. I'll have to find out the shoe cam. There she is.
It's a cotton candy flavored shoe. FDB as well. Carrington up the other end. Charles says that's mine. Numbers for the Mystics.
Rookie.
Thought Cloud might pull up Mitchell. Cloud is another sniper, shy, swings it. Charles strong. Bonner skies in for the miss. 7 to go, fourth quarter. Connecticut leads Washington by 5.
Sister on sister matchup right now. Oh, they switched off of it. McCall was on Bonner there for a minute.
DB might be a handful of years older, but wants to prove her sister she's still got it. 2 to shoot for Heidemann. Extra pass. Bonner got it off. Nice box out by Cloud. Mitchell the rebound.
Both teams want to make sure they're not settling from 3 here in these closing minutes. We've seen some late shot clock heaves.
Jonquel Jones picks up her 4th. As Kim said a moment ago, Brianna Jones with 5. Breon January has 5. Atkins, double up top on Charles. Cloud, 3. JJ saves it. Heidemann wants to run. Jasmine Thomas threads through the defense. Jonquel on the glass and collected by McCall. Great hustle by McCall, who gives just a handful of minutes off the bench, at least as of late against Indiana, averaging 22 minutes with a couple of starts this year. Tina Charles one-on-one against Jonquel Jones. Banks it in.
Bucket. She's been relatively quiet in this second half, but let's see if she turns it up here and tries to close this game out.
First field goal of the second half for Charles. 21 points. Bonner sees an open. Thomas, 3. Yes.
That's your bet. Jasmine Thomas, 11th year in the league. 7th season with the Sun, just such a steadying, calming force for this group.
Connecticut built a 12-point lead in the third quarter. 21 in the game for Charles, up to 23.
It's about that time. Tina Charles, we mentioned the quiet start to the second half, but she is taking things personally right now.
Under 5 to go in the fourth quarter. Bonner's had a good fourth quarter, draws the foul, counted and 1. DB heading to the free throw line when we return. The bread and butter here at Mohegan.
Welcome back to Mohegan Sun Arena. We've got a great one here. DeWanna Bonner taking things into her own hands here, and to add insult to injury on the sister. Erica McCall, DeWanna Bonner, the sisters, and DeWanna, the elder sister, taking it right to her in crunch time and drawing the N1.
DeWanna talked to the media earlier today, spoke of her sister, Erica. Great to play overseas together for the first time. They were in Russia. Very special to unite after the bubble. And, you know, DeWanna, of course, had to get a dig in at the end. She's playing with a lot of energy. She'll try to outrun and outjump me.
Yeah, I got to listen to Erica's perspective on it as they were teammates in Russia, and it was the first time they've ever played together. And they said it was a tremendous experience. And there's Tina Charles. She has been heating up here in the fourth.
25 points, 8 rebounds for Charles. She's had 30 points in 3 straight games. Only 2 other players in WNBA history have scored 30 points in 4 straight. Turnover by Bonner. Atkins, pretty step through off the window. Short rims it. Connecticut has it. 4 minutes to go. The Sun has done a nice job getting everyone involved. 5 players in double figures scoring. Jasmine Thomas along the baseline.
This is where you want to settle a little bit. Oh, my!
This place would have erupted if that went down.
That was nearly at the logo.
Bonner just 1 for 4 from 3 tonight, as we've mentioned a few times, coming in 54% from deep this season. Cloud to Atkins. Hines Allen sets the screen, shot clock to 5. Thomas face guards. Atkins, 3 is good. 1-point game.
Hand down, man down. Jasmine Thomas, a vet, but didn't quite have the hand up to contest. Cannot have a hand down against Ariel Atkins, a near 50% shooter from 3 this season.
4th-year guard out of Texas, making it rain here in Connecticut. Carrington well short. Mitchell has the board. Heidemann intercepts it like a cornerback in football. She wants the ball right back. Former Big East Player of the Year at Marquette. Here comes Heidemann. Floater short. What a great play. Excellent basketball game here on a Friday night in the W. One of 4 games. This one in the closing minutes. Charles, a rare miss. Timeout, Kurt Miller. Excellent finish coming here at Mohegan. Do not go anywhere. We have a great finish coming here at Mohegan Sun. 2:27 left. Connecticut and Washington. These two met on the biggest stage 19 months ago, the 2019 WNBA Finals. Great to have you with us. Brendan Glasheen, Kim Adams, and Robin Brown. Connecticut with the ball and the lead. Thomas on the swing, swirls in a 3.
And that was a much better offensive possession for Connecticut. I thought they got a little bit out of whack in terms of who they want taking the shots, moving the ball. Nice patience on that end.
Jasmine Thomas making her presence felt. Missed the first couple of games due to COVID protocols. 18 points. Waiting to figure what the officials had. I think we had a foul against the Sun, against DeWanna Bonner. She is not in foul trouble. Brianna Jones back in playing with 5. 1 away from potentially fouling out. Cloud fades. Jonquel Jones taps the rebound.
Natasha Cloud, talented scorer, but just having a tough night finishing tonight. 1 of 5, but she's done a good job of controlling their offense.
Breon January around the screen. 90 seconds to play. Connecticut by 4. And we're going back the other way.
And
off the fingertips of JJ.
This is where ball protection is so important. The little details, making sure that every pass is going to the right person in the right way. You're not forcing passes. Those are the plays you'd like to get back, and now you got to make up for it on this end.
Mitchell clears for Atkins. Great cut. Hines Allen, the extra pass. Mitchell set up for a 3. Strong. Thomas wrestles away the rebound.
A couple times now the Mystics have gotten wide open looks after beautiful passing, but they've had trouble finishing and knocking down that final look.
Hines Allen 0 for 3. Jonquel Jones, pretty feed from Bonner. That power stance. Shouts to Jonquel. 20 points, 12 boards, right at her season average.
And how about the 5 assists, Brendan? That's maybe the most impressive aspect to me. She's having a career high in assists as well this season. Points, assists, steals. Jonquel Jones having a monster game and a monster start to the season.
Just got to look at assistant coach Brandy Poole, who was coaching the team in Seattle when Kurt Miller served his suspension. And Brandy said JJ came into the season with such a good headspace, opted out of the 2020 season down in Bradenton. Teammates absolutely thrilled to have her back. And I mean, here are the numbers. Another double-double. Now 6 straight games with double-digit points and rebounds. The only game she didn't do it was opening night against Atlanta, where she had 26 and 8.
Yeah, it's been consistency, and now it's time to lock in. If I'm Washington, I may look to set up a good 3 here. You've got Atkins, a great 3-point shooter.
Here's the double on Atkins. Hines Allen doesn't hesitate, halfway down and out. And Bonner is fouled on the baseline. I mean, you said it again. I mean, another great look.
Yeah, it's just been a tough shooting night for Washington. They're just 8 of 28 from deep, 28%, and a lot of them have been really good looks. They've been halfway down. They've been around the rim. Just haven't been able to convert at a high rate.
Season average for the Mystics is 32% from 3, which ranks 7th in the W. The attempts are right where they've been all year, right around 29. Atkins with the personal. Man, this Connecticut team having chats with some of the players this week during media availability. They weren't concerned going into Tuesday's game in Seattle. Very cohesive group. Championship aspirations. On to the next game. In any given night, you can have a big game. Jasmine Thomas, her previous season high was 15 points, up to 19 in this one. Cloud with the hustle, and Bonner denies. Oh, she was just waiting for the attempt on the block.
It was just like a magnet. Here it comes, Natasha Cloud, who's a very talented driver, but woo! And she added a little oomph to it too.
If that's a magnet, that wins the science fair right there.
Man, DeWanna Bonner, that length on both ends of the floor is just such a weapon for Connecticut.
I think we might have a review of who the ball went out of bounds on. Connecticut built a 12-point lead. At one point, the Sun was down 11 in the first quarter. Up 12 midway through the third. Washington used a 13-0 run to get within one. Back and forth we went, and the Sun has been outstanding down the stretch. A look ahead at the WNBA national TV schedule. Connecticut's next opponent, Minnesota. They match up on Sunday during Memorial Day weekend. Minnesota in action tonight, about an hour from now on CBS Sports Network. And then Tuesday, ESPN doubleheader, Phoenix at Chicago, Indiana at Seattle. We didn't mention this in the Indiana game last week, but something it's weird. The Wobble season feels like it took years off our lives in terms of even watching a little bit of the NBA last night. The Lakers had their first playoff game since 2013, which you hear that and you're like, really? It's true. Connecticut was 23-11 the year it went to the finals in 2019. An outstanding home record, 15-2 in this building. And they can finish off Washington in these final 30 or so seconds. The Sun keeps the unbeaten home record.
And this has got to be something super quick for Washington here. 3-possession game. You could go for a 2, but it's got to be a 2 within the first, I would say, 2 to 3 seconds. A quick hitter. Maybe get a lob into Tina Charles in the middle, but see, you got Jonquel Jones camped out in there.
Weiss was their top shooter tonight, but she's out. Lower body injury, out for the remainder of the game.
Seems to be confusion on where the ball should be inbounded. Washington looks like they may have drawn a specific play up, and now the officials are confused as to where it will be inbounded. It looks like it will be on the baseline.
Off the catch. Atkins, that 3, friendly bounce on the road. Makes it a 4-point game. I mean, they must have heard you from up here, Kim.
Well, I said they could go for a quick 2, but
you did say that.
They opted for the 3. Ariel Atkins, just 3 of 9 on the night with that make. We mentioned the team had been shooting under 30% from 3, but if you're going to go to anybody, Ariel Atkins is the sniper for the Mystics team.
Next up for the visiting Washington Mystics, they are home next Saturday against Las Vegas. So a break in the schedule for Washington. Mentioned in the top of the show, Connecticut played 6 games in 12 days, including a stretch where they had to play 4 games in 7 days, including that 3-game trip out west. Phoenix, Vegas, and Seattle. What's impressed you most about this Connecticut team? A handful of weeks and a lot to like, of course. You just see the record. Indications point to they've done a lot of things well, but what stands out to you the most?
I think it's the versatility. It's the well-roundedness. I think everyone knew coming in, including opponents, Kurt Miller, they're going to have talent in the paint. And Jonquel Jones, Brianna Jones, they're going to have length. But they've really become a well-rounded offensive unit with some really strong outside shooting. Have knocked down 11 threes in this game. They're just a really tough team to defend because you have to figure out who to key on. Obviously, I think it all starts with shutting down Jonquel Jones in the paint, but there's a lot of players you have to be aware of on the floor for the Sun.
She's Kim Adams, Brendan Glasheen, Robin Brown with us as well. Thanks for joining us on Facebook tonight for WNBA action. One of 4 games in the W tonight. One of the main storylines in the league. It's not a good one. It's injuries have piled up for star players. Natasha Howard out for 4 to 6 weeks. Diana Taurasi, Elena Deladon of Washington not in there. Another back surgery. She was at training camp. Remains with the team when the team is at home. She's in good spirits, trying to gear up for the season. And that's why we were playing that what-if game earlier. Still feel like the vibe around the league is folks are wondering, well, Connecticut can't keep this up. And the other side, Washington, it's, well, you know, once they get Deladon in the mix, they're going to be tough to stop.
It looks like the officials may have been reviewing whether Atkins' shot was a 2 or a 3. I just saw the official go over and have his hands up for a 3. So that is what that review was. It is confirmed that it was a 3 for Ariel Atkins, and he got a 4-point game.
Connecticut ball. Breon January to inbound. Here's Bonner. Now the trap up top, and January is fouled. I think the closest to her was Natasha Cloud. Mystics in jeopardy of falling to 2 and 4 on the year. Had a reassuring win, a bounce back against Indiana on the road Tuesday after losing the first game to the Fever in blowout fashion. Quiet night for January. Pleasant surprise that she returned to the lineup as soon as she did. She talked to the media on Thursday, and January admitted it killed me a little bit not to be with my team on the road. That's why, again, you can't help but mention 6 games in 12 days, and the Sun comes out of it with a healthy Heidemann. Never 100%, of course, once games start, but Heidemann in the lineup and also January in the lineup.
And free throws continue to be a concern here for Connecticut. Just 14 of 23, 60%.
Fans must have dinner plans. Still a 2-possession game, but see if January can come through. Lead is 5. Here comes Cloud. Charles. Clock's ticking, and she's fouled. It's Bonner. That's her 3rd. Something you don't want to do with the lead. Both teams in the penalty. Charles to the free throw line.
And we mentioned it earlier, Washington Mystics are the best free throw shooting team in the league at 86% as a team. You do not want to get into a free throw battle with this team, especially when the Sun are shooting just 62% from the line.
Charles now 5 of 6, leads the W in free throw attempts. Now it's a 3-point game. Brianna Jones to inbound, into Bonner. Best free throw shooter on the squad. Now up ahead. Brianna Jones lays it in.
And they were trying to not foul Bonner, and it came back to bite them as the play just kind of got broken up there, and Sun get a wide open layup down the other end. Sometimes you just have to foul who has the ball, even if she does shoot 90%. Yeah, here it is. So they know Bonner is one of the best free throw shooters in the league. They try and foul on the pass, but the Sun just worked that ball around too quickly. Brianna Jones on the other end with the layup.
Mike Tebow just used his final timeout. 10.1 seconds to go. Brianna Jones started slow in this one. We even had the game when Connecticut opened the season with Phoenix. Had a hard time. It's a tough test when Brittany Griner's the opening matchup for you in the paint. But I mean, here are the minutes and the production in those final two West Coast games. Just doing it so efficiently.
Yeah, and she does it almost quietly at times. She just, like we mentioned, on those offensive rebounds, just kind of sneaks her way in there, catches her defender or the help defender off guard, and gets a lot of her points on offensive boards. Brianna Jones has 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in this one. Mystics are going to have to work quickly, but it's still a 2-possession game here.
Well, like you said, maybe the most impressive element of this Connecticut Sun team, the versatility, and really how the pieces have worked so well. With Jonquel Jones back after opting out last year.
Watch for Atkins to get this back for 3.
Yep, 9 seconds. Charles up fakes, drives. They don't want to foul. Down to a 3-point game and a quick foul. And knowing how well Charles is scoring the ball in the paint, it's kind of a smart move by Connecticut to back out, give her the 2. If you foul, that's probably going in for an and-1.
Yeah, you could tell Washington definitely drew it up to get Atkins the corner 3 off the inbounds, but she was well defended, so Charles able to get an easy 2. But yeah, the last thing you would want to do there is foul Charles.
DeWanna Bonner at the line, 4 for 5 at the stripe. Back to a 2-possession game. These two meet again on June 29th in our nation's capital for a 7 o'clock start. Atkins with the heave. And that's your ball game. The Connecticut Sun now 6-1 in 2021. First matchup against the team they saw in the 2019 finals. And they hand the Mystics their 4th loss of the season. Connecticut back in 2018 was also 6-1. Great start for the Sun. We'll come back and wrap things up here at Mohegan Sun. Connecticut with the win over Washington. Welcome back to Mohegan Sun Arena. Connecticut wins to improve to 6-1. DeWanna Bonner icing the game down the stretch. Crucial free throws, also excellent defensively. She is now courtside with Robin Brown.
DeWanna, this team improves now to 6-1 on the season. You're leading the league, but last season you guys start 0-5. So what has created that shift?
Oh man, I think this team is just hungry. We just want to win. We hang our hats on defensively. We didn't have the best offensive night tonight, but we dug deep when it mattered in the 4th quarter. Actually, we came out in the 3rd quarter and played a little bit better defense. So they're a great team. Tina Charles is a load. So I'm just proud of my team.
Let's chat about the front court. 6'6", Jonquel Jones, 6'3", Brianna Jones, you at 6'4". The size, the length, what makes this trio so dynamic?
I don't know. I guess the height, the length, the size. You know, we knew that coming in that we had JJ coming back, and she was ready to play. So, you know, we played through JJ, and then me and Bree just kind of follow along. And our guards are just so tough defensively, Jazz and Brianna. It's just working right now. We're clicking on all cylinders, so hopefully we can come on the road to Minnesota and keep it up.
This team continues to find ways to win, but the conversation has always been the lack of respect for you. Does this team feel like they're disrespected in this league?
I don't think we really worry about it. Since I've been here, I just want to win. I don't care who's on that court, who we're playing against. Connecticut's here, so that's what we're going to live by. We're going to focus on us every day in practice, and whatever it is at the end of the year, hey, they're going to have to respect us one way or the other.
When you're on this court, a double-double for you tonight, you're contributing anywhere, but is there a specific focus you have when you approach each game?
Just not to be so tired. I'd be so tired, Robin. Just defensively, I think that's my main goal. That's something I want to improve on. I know my guards play defense, so I can't be that lone guard to, not play defense. So just trying to focus in on defense. That's me.
Well, congrats, DB.
Thank
You're
you.
off.
You look nice tonight, Robin.
Thank you, Brendan.
Wow, what about us? No, I'm kidding. 37 minutes tonight for DeWanna Bonner, which led the Sun, as Robin mentioned, a double-double for Bonner. Contributors all over the score sheet. Jasmine Thomas has a season best 19. Jonquel Jones, another double-double. 6 straight games with a double-double for JJ. And then for the Mystics, that number, 29 points. Tina Charles missing out on 4 straight games with 30.
Yeah, we would have loved to see her get it, but we can't, talk highly enough about how Tina Charles has performed to start this season. Credit to the Mystics. They've had some bad losses, but they're starting to get those pieces together. The chemistry, Ariel Atkins was tremendous with 20 as well. So some good signs for the Mystics, but the Sun are just a lot to handle. And, man, I'd be tired, too, if I was in my 12th season in the WNBA playing 37 minutes. I feel you, DeWanna.
Okay, Connecticut had 5 players score in double figures. Our final score one more time here at Mohegan Sun. Connecticut 86, Washington 81. The Sun is back in action Sunday, May 30th, as Connecticut visits Minnesota. Game is at 7 Eastern. For Kim Adams, Robin Brown, our entire production crew, I'm Brendan Glasheen saying good night from Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.